25 years of the diplomatic relations between Israel and India, and now Narendra Modi has landed in Tel Aviv, and there's a huge excitement about his visit. In fact, Indians are going to be at the hotel where the Prime Minister is reaching to give him a warm reception. And this is not even the official event, because with the Indian diaspora there's going to be an official event where at least 5,000 to 8,000 people are going to turn up to meet him. Of course, the Israeli Prime Minister himself is going to be accompanying PM Modi for the most part of the time that he is here. 25 years and an extremely significant visit, and a slew of deals which are likely to be on the cards, right from defense to even something as critical as irrigation. Padmaja Joshi in Tel Aviv for India Today.
Padmaja Joshi there reporting on her way to Tel Aviv. Let's get in more reactions now. Sanjay Jha of the Congress and Syed Zafar Islam, national spokesperson of the BJP, General Shankar Prasad also joining me. Let's get in reactions from you, gentlemen, political reactions. Sanjay Jha, the Congress raising questions over the Prime Minister's decision to skip Ramallah. The flip side is that finally an Indian leader has shown the gumption to de-hyphenate this Israel-Palestinian relationship. The Prime Minister Modi has reached out to the Palestinian leadership earlier. Their president was in India in May. So why is it that the Congress is taking objection to the Prime Minister only focusing on Israel?
Rajdeep, firstly, I think we all recognize that the diplomatic relationship between countries is an evolving process. If you go back to history, you will find that India, under the leadership of Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, was amongst the first few countries to recognize Israel as a state as early as September 17, 1950. And it's been 25 years since Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao's government had established full diplomatic relationship with Israel. But coming down to the Palestinian issue, I think, there has always been a tradition and a convention followed by most heads of state, because everyone recognizes that the Palestinian cause is an extremely justified cause, and we have already always taken that position. Actually, publicly, even Mr. Modi has said that the two-state solution is the way forward to the entire crisis in terms of giving the Palestinians a separate nation. I think that is something that, end of day ought to have been adhered to. Don't forget that, end of day, while we have every reason to have a closer alliance with Israel in terms of strategic, defense, agriculture, water, security, etc., it should not mean that we at any point of time alienate the other, shall we say,
but I don't think it's about let's be, why can't the Congress simply say that Narasimha Rao opened the window to Israel and Prime Minister Modi is building on it? Start taking credit for a few things that maybe the Congress party has done, even if it's not a member of the Gandhi family. The fact is, whether it's GST, whether it's Israel, there's a sense that you're not willing to A, give any credit to Mr. Modi, and B, you don't want to take enough credit yourself as if it is not a member of the Gandhi family.
Rajdeep, I reiterated the role of Mr. Narasimha Rao in establishing full diplomatic relationship with Israel. I mean, that is documented, and that's one of the reasons why, if you look at the figures, and I've checked the figures before coming on your program, we were doing bilateral trade of $200 million in 1992. Currently is close to $6 billion. It has definitely gone up significantly. But I think the larger issue remains, and I think, Rajdeep, you are a very seasoned political analyst. You recognize that even as we talk, even Donald Trump, whom a lot of people, I think the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was actually very bullish that with Donald Trump coming in, talking about a very ultimate deal, he also believed that there will be some kind of a breakthrough. So
can I just hold you for a moment? I take your point. I take your point. Let's just listen in once again to the two leaders, their reaction, and then get in other reactions to that.
Narendra Modi, welcome to Israel. Aapka swaagat hai, mere dost. Prime Minister, we've been waiting for you a long time. We've been waiting almost 70 years, in fact, because yours is truly a historic visit. It's the first time an Indian Prime Minister is visiting Israel. We receive you with open arms. We love India. We admire your culture. We admire your history, your democracy, your commitment to progress. We view you as kindred spirits in our common quest to provide a better future for our peoples and for our world. Prime Minister, when I first met you at the United Nations 3 years ago, we agreed to break down the remaining walls between India and Israel. We shook each other's hands, and we agreed to forge a historic partnership for progress. We then met again in Paris, and since then we've spoken many times on the phone. But I remember, my friend, what you said in that first meeting. You said that when it comes to India-Israel's relations, the sky is the limit.
I want to thank my friend, Prime Minister Netanyahu, for the invitation and for receiving me with so much warmth. My visit celebrates the strength of centuries-old links between our societies. Based on these bonds of our partnership has maintained a strong and sustained upswing since the establishment of full diplomatic relations 25 years ago. Friends, the people of Israel have built a nation on democratic principles. They have nurtured it with hard work, greed, and the spirit of innovation. You have marched on regardless of adversity and converted challenges into opportunity. India counts Israel amongst its important partners. The need to rely on science, technology, innovation, and higher technical education to overcome our developmental challenges to common to both of us. The domains also bring together the creative energy and ideas of the highly skilled youth and entrepreneurs of the two countries. Alongside building a partnership for shared economic prosperity, we are also cooperating to secure our societies against common threats such as terrorism. A progressive partnership in all these areas would shape the scope of my conversation with Prime Minister, my friend Netanyahu.
Okay, there you have the two leaders speaking to each other on the tarmac. Rare that you have two leaders speaking so extensively on an airport tarmac the moment they land. Syed Zafar Islam, your first reactions. Is this the BJP sending out the signal that they intend in a way to redraw the compass when it comes to West Asia policy? That there will be no support for Israel by stealth, but it will be open. The Prime Minister calls it a shining example of democracy, something that in the past Indian leaders have questioned. Is this Narendra Modi's effort to strike a new balance in the West Asia, that I will reach out to Israel, maybe even have a pro-Israel tilt, even if it means antagonizing the Palestinians?
Rajdeep, first of all, this is a historic visit, unprecedented gesture extended by the Israel authorities to the Honorable Prime Minister. This kind of welcome has never been done for any other premier of any country except for the President of the United States. That equates Honorable Prime Minister at par with the tallest leader of the globe. And that shows the kind of policy we have adopted since the day we have assumed power, that the foreign policy is a victory for our foreign policy. It doesn't matter whether the Congress spokesperson were questioning whether the Honorable Prime Minister should have visited Ramallah. I think that every nation's foreign policy is driven by the national interest. And India has adopted a policy since 2014 which works for India and not for any other country. And that's why all the decision which has been taken by the India government is only in the interest of the nation and not for any other nation.
So you believe it's in India's national interest to build this strong relationship with Israel independent of how we choose to deal with Palestine? You're saying that the two relationships are to be dehyphenated. That's what you're effectively saying. That
absolutely, Rajdeep. If you see that the Palestinian president had visited us 3-4 months ago, the diplomatic relation with the Palestinian authorities is very good with India, and we had to break ice with Israel. And today we must tell the world that we have been able to break ice with Israel, and this will lead and this will pave way for many things on a bilateral cooperation basis, and it will pave a fantastic outcome for India as a nation. And even if you see that our policy for the West Asia and the Middle East is very, very evident that we are engaging with every single country, and the receptiveness of Honorable Prime Minister in every country is very, very good.
Let Sanjay Jha quickly respond, and then I'll get a final word from you. You made your point.
Accorded the highest award to the Honorable Prime Minister. So was the case by the Kuwait authority, Kuwait, and in many other countries.
You make an interesting point. You make an interesting point. Before I get Professor Muni to wrap this up, Sanjay Jha respond. The fact is the Indian Prime Minister has also reached out to a number of countries in West Asia. He went to the United Arab Emirates, went to Saudi Arabia, went to Kuwait, and these countries have also received him with open arms. So this is a Prime Minister who has, at least for now, been successfully able to strike this balance.
Well, you know, Rajdeep, the truth is that Mr. Modi is just 20 kilometers away from having a meeting, if he wanted to, with Mr. Mahmoud, who heads the Palestinian government. I mean, end of day, I think the fundamental point that we need to recognize is this, that if he can meet Mr. Mahmoud Abbas just 20 kilometers away, and that can make a significant, shall we say, continuity in terms of foreign policy. I agree with Zafar that a government has a right to carry out its own changes vis-a-vis what the previous governments did. But you know, when you articulate a foreign policy and you're trying to be different, you got to consider several sensitivities at the same time. I think, for example, coming close to the US doesn't mean that you alienate Russia, which is what this government has done. So end of day, it's not either or. You got to basically calibrate your foreign policy in such a way that you come close to the countries that you need to deal with. And I think we are not objecting to coming close to Israel. Right. But I think visiting Palestine would have been a correct step.
Some would have called it tokenism. Some would say it's tokenism. Professor Muni, would it be tokenism at this stage?
To this, Rajdeep?
No, just a minute. Let me get Professor Muni in. He has to leave us shortly. That's why I thought I'd get him in. That do you believe that this would be tokenism if the Prime Minister went to Ramallah, had gone to Ramallah on this visit? Or do you believe that this is clear evidence that this is a Prime Minister who has a mind of his own, is unmindful of his critics, and is determined to strike a particular special relationship with Israel, a country which, let me reiterate, he also visited when he was Gujarat Chief Minister?
No, that's true. I think simply going to Ramallah and coming back would have been a tokenism. And I must underline that the Congress, even under the Congress regime, there were symbols where we were distancing or dehyphenating between Palestine and Israel. And one example is Sonia Gandhi did not go to the funeral of Yasser Arafat, PLO leader. So it's let's not go into
So you think this is a gradual process? This is a gradual process where we have tried to dehyphenate this relationship in our own national interest.
And rightly that we are avoiding symbolism. We are now insisting on substance. Therefore, I say very strong symbols with the beginning of the Prime Minister's visit, and I am sure a more strong substance is unfolding.
Just before we end, there are lots of agreements to be signed. We are told they're primarily, Sandeep, in the area of defense and agriculture, but defense in particular. Is this going to really mean that Israel's arm exports to India, 41% of Israel's arms export between 2012 and 16 have come to India? Is it taking that relationship, once you're in this strong defense relationship, strategically, you're dependent in a way on each other even more than ever before?
That's right, Rajdeep, and I'd like to point out the significance of the deal that is likely to be signed during this visit for the Aetan drones. Now, these are attack drones which carry missiles and that can be used to carry out drone strikes of the kind the US has been carrying out in Afghanistan. Now, this is a tremendous addition to our capabilities, and this is something that we've asked from the US, from the United States. We've not been able to get it. What we've got instead are the Guardian drones from the Trump administration, and here we have Israel offering these attack drones to us, which in a sense kind of validates what I said earlier about Israel being the halfway house for us with respect to Western technology. The stuff that the Americans couldn't give you, you get very easily from Israel.
Well, clearly we've seen possibly a new sunshine in the Indo-Israeli relationship. It's gone through turbulence, moments of darkness, but 25 years after diplomatic isolation of Israel was ended by India under Narasimha Rao, let me reiterate once again, we've now got Narendra Modi taking that relationship to another level. This is perhaps truly historic. That word is often misused in recent times, but of all the visits that the Prime Minister has undertaken in the 3 years that he's been in charge and power, and he's been a pretty frequent foreign traveler, this is the one visit that will be seen as truly groundbreaking in more ways than one. I want to thank all my guests for joining me this evening. We will carry on with our special coverage because this is the big headline this evening. It is a day to say truly, Namoste Israel, a man being described by Benjamin Netanyahu as a true friend, a dost of Israel. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.